about something God gave me. It's called, he put me back together again. Tell your neighbor, say, neighbor, he put me back together again. Say it again. Say, he put me back together again. Now, this message might only be for about 5 of y'all today, but I got to use pastoral privilege and talk about just to 5 of y'all that he put you back together again. I don't know where you was at. I don't know what happened in your life. You was off track, but now you're on track. Things are happening. God about to explode some stuff in your life. He's about to transform your mind. He's about to do a whole lot of stuff. You know, when you wreck your car, you have a damaged piece of property, you have insurance on it. What they do is they send an adjuster out. How many of you had that experience with an adjuster? And what the adjuster does, he comes out and assesses whether or not your property is actually worth them fixing. And a lot of times, if they say, well, you really owe too much on it, or your car really ain't really worth it, or your house, or whatever it is, they would do something called total it out. It ain't worth fixing. See, but God thought enough of you, he thought enough of me to come by and say, you know what, I'm not going to total you out. Y'all should have shouted right there. He said, I thought enough of you. I'm not going to total you out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fix you. See, God thought enough of you to restore you. And today we're going to talk about restoration. We're going to talk about God restoring you back. When you restore something, you put it back in its original state. You make it better than which it was. God says, I want to restore you. I want to put you back together again. I want to do great things. Well, Pastor, I've always been like that. That's not what God called you to be like. If you've been sick, you came in this world sick. God don't want you sick. He wants you well. So the original state of man and woman was to be made whole in every arena of your life. Say, God, thank you for putting me back together again. So today we're going to start in Jeremiah chapter number 30. Jeremiah chapter 30. If you don't know the text, Jeremiah, this is when Israel is somewhat in Babylonia. They're in bondage. All kind of stuff has happened. They've gotten all kind of trials, all kind of tribulations. And in Jeremiah, Jeremiah is actually prophesying what God has told him to write. And so and Jeremiah is writing this thing, and he's talking about all the trouble Israel's in. Some of you, you've been in a lot of trouble. God says, I'm going to deliver you out of that. He said, I'm going to put your life back together again. I'm going to make all those things that you were going through worthwhile at the end of the day. Amen? So when we look at this, we look at Jeremiah chapter number 30, verse 7 says this. It says, alas, for the day is great, so that none is like it. Stop right here. Some of you might be saying, now, my day ain't really that great. My car tore up. Things ain't happening the way it need to be. Y'all ain't helping me. Man, I was driving my car this weekend. All of a sudden, that joker said, stop. It didn't say stop, but it just stopped. 15 years, and it's been rolling good. I love my car. I talk to my car. You know what I mean? Y'all. Have you ever just talked to your car? Some of y'all ain't in love with your car. I am. I don't love it more than I love Jesus, but I like the U car. It's been good to me. 15 years, and we've been going steady for 15 years. We've been married for 15 years. Me and this Yukon, we done went through thick and thin. We've been in 4-wheel drive situation together. Y'all, we've been in the mud. Y'all don't understand. And all of a sudden it said, bow. Now, I could look at that and say, alas, he says, but the scripture said, for the day is great. Now, I don't care what kind of trials and tribulation you got, the day is still great. Well, Pastor, I don't know. It's still great. In spite of what you're going through, it's still great. Say it with me. Say, my day is still good. It's still great. Now, notice what he said. He said, so that none is like it. That means that it's no day like the day that you're having right now. That your day is renewed today. It's no day. Well, Pastor, it's bad. No, it ain't that bad. It just seemed like it's bad. Right before, there's always a calm. Right, but when there's a storm, there's always a calm that's going to come after that. The storm won't last always. Look at the next part. It says, it is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it all, out of it. He says, I understand it's a troubled time, but God says Jacob's going to be saved. We're like Jacob. Now that you're born again, now that you're saved, this is a prophetic thing that when the church would realign itself with God, some of us been out of fellowship. God says, I need you to get back. I need you to get back to what you used to be. He said, this is the time. This is your day. This is your year. This is the time that God said, I'm going to restore. Look at the next verse. Verse 8 says this. It said, it shall come to pass that in the day, said the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. Stop right here. Notice he says, I'm going to break that thing off your neck. What's been holding you? God says, whatever's been holding you, I'm about to break it off your neck. Well, Pastor, some of you came in struggling with all kind of stuff. God says, I'm about to break that off your neck. This is the time. You should have shouted. I had 5 people that caught that. What you mean? There's some stuff that you've been struggling with, but God says because you decided to make him your Lord and your Savior, you decided to leave that Babylonian system alone. God says, I'm about to transform your mind. What do you mean? Now, in this particular text, Israel was in Babylonian bondage. They was hooked up with the world. Babylon represents the world. That's some stuff that's been holding you, but God says, I'm about to break this off your neck. Amen. If you're struggling, God said, I'm about to break that. If you've been sick, he says, I'm about to break that. If you've been diseased, he says, I'm about to break that. Whatever your struggle is, God says, I'm about to break it off your neck. Say to him and say, God, break it today off my neck. Say it again. Say, God, break it today off my neck. See, when something is tied to your neck, it weighs you down. When something is tied to your neck, it'll choke you out. Y'all ain't helping me. That's why some of you feel almost like you're about to pass out. Because that thing is weighing you down so heavy, you're so frustrated, you're so mad because you got this thing on your neck. And here, the prophet just tells you today, just like I'm telling you what God says, he said, I'm about to break that off your neck. The trouble that you're having, he says, I'm about to break that. And he says right here, he says, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve, shall serve themselves of them. That means the strangers who've been taking advantage of you, they're no longer going to be able to do those things. Why? Because today is that day. This is the day God says, I'm going to restore back to you the years that the cankerworm, the locust, all the bad stuff been eaten up on your life. God says, I'm about to break that in your life. Shout this with me. Say, break it, God. Break it, God. Say it again. Say, break it, God. But you got to understand the text. Israel's in bondage. They're in a whole lot of stuff. There's some stuff that's been trying to keep you back. There's some stuff, there's some sickness, there's some disease. I told you I was only talking about 5 of you. What you mean, Pastor? There's some stuff that's been trying to hold you back, keep you from your promise, keep you out of the blessing, keep you from all these things. You got a headache, you're sick, car tearing up, all kind of stuff. God said, I'm about to break that off your life. Are you ready for release? Are you ready for release? When you're ready for release, you start packing your stuff. Y'all ain't helping me. When you got ready to move, what you did? You got your boxes then. Some of you start packing all kind of stuff. Y'all ain't helping me. You didn't know you had that much stuff. Why? Because you didn't understand it until you got ready to move. That's some stuff God says, I need you to start packing up. In the spirit, I need you to start packing some stuff up. There's some stuff you about to break free from, but in order for that to happen, you can't want to go back to your old place. You can't want to go back to what you used to do. You got to learn to pack it up. See, when you pack stuff up, when you're moving out, when you know you got to have your stuff out before the first, anything left after that, they say they're going to sit beside the road. Y'all ain't helping me. Some of y'all had that to happen. They said, you better have it out here by the first, because guess the reason why? Because if it left, it's going to get thrown away. God said, I'm about to change some stuff in your life. You're going to have to pack some stuff up. And when you pack it up, you ain't going back there no more. He says, I'm about to break this yoke. That yoke he's talking about was that yoke of that sin, that thing that had been holding him, that sickness. Well, like I said, that alcohol, the drug addiction, whatever it is, God said, I'm about to break that off your life. Come on. Look at what he says in 16. Check this out. 16 says this. It said, therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured. Everybody who's trying to do you in, trying to do crazy stuff against you, he said, you ain't even got to sweat it. You ain't even got to go head over heels. He says, I'm going to fight this battle. Everyone that's trying to devour you, everything, God said this. He says, they're going to be devoured. That's the reason why they hear this saying, if they dig a ditch, they better dig two. Because guess what? They're going to be digging one for themselves. I said they dig a ditch, dig one, because they're digging it for them, not for me. Hear this now. He said, all thine adversary, every one of them. Stop right here. Y'all missed that. Notice what he said. Every one of your adversary, not two, not three of them, every one. Y'all ain't helping me. That means everything or everybody that's been trying to do stuff against you, you ain't even got to think about it. You ain't got to concentrate on it. God says, I'm going to take care of you. He said, I'm going to take care of that battle. Stop trying to fight it. Stop trying to go all crazy, getting yourself in the uproar. Let God fight the battle. You losing all your little religion that you do have. All the little religion you do have. And you trying to fight the battle. You ain't got to fight it. He says everyone, all, say all. That word all is inclusive. I understand that little supervisor, your little boss, your little district manager giving you a hard time, but you just hold what you got. Don't you move, don't flinch, don't go in the tanker, don't start drinking. Lord have mercy, Jesus. There's some stuff trying to drive you to drinking. There's some stuff trying to drive you to say, man, you need to go get you one. You ain't going to go drink. Talking about you need something to calm your nerve. No, you don't. You ain't finna go get nothing. You hear this? You ain't going to go take you no pills or nothing. God, everyone, say everyone. Well, Pastor, if I don't do this, they going to do that. So what? You just do your job to the best of your God-given ability, and guess what? Let God handle the rest. Stop trying to be worried and all this other. You worried about you can't do nothing about it. You got to let God fight that battle. Now, you got to do what you need to do, but let God handle the situation. He says, every one of thine adversary, those who keep coming against you, every one of them shall go into captivity. Everyone that keep doing the same old stuff, God said they're going to be the one in bondage. And said, and they that spoil thee shall be spoiled. And they that prey upon thee, I will give for a prey. He says everything they're trying to do is basically going to reverse around on them. Did you hear that? What they're trying to do to you, somebody going to do it to them. You say, man, ain't nobody hiding them. Yes, it is. They got somebody over them too. The only thing you got to do is say, Lord, I'm going to let you handle this situation. I ain't going to worry about it. I'm going to turn it over to your hand. Everything some of you, they might have cut your pay, but guess what God said? I'm going to return back to you everything the devil tried to do in your life. You serve a God of restoration. Say that with me. Say, I serve a God of restoration. Give God praise for that. Oh, y'all ain't helping me. That's some stuff the devil's been trying to do, but he can't work against you. He's trying his best. But you serve a God that's going to put back together everything that you lost. You serve a God, if you're sick, God says, I'm going to put you back together again. That sickness is an adversary to you. That sickness is a thorn in your flesh. It is something sent to defeat you and distract you and to keep you off balance. What is that yoke that's been on your neck? Here he was prophesying to Israel. He was prophesying to, he was talking about this Babylonian system that was already in operation. He was talking about all this stuff. What you mean? There's no system higher and greater than God's system. God said, I'm going to change that. He said, only thing you got to do is allow him. And Jeremiah was sitting there, and Jeremiah was writing. He was telling the people of God. In this particular text, he's talking about when they will get themselves connected with the Messiah, when Jesus would become the head of their life. That's the reason why God said, return back. Return back. Get yourself back in alignment. What you mean? I know I ain't been doing right, Pastor. Get yourself back right. I know it. No, don't worry about yesterday. We got to be focused on what we're going to do tomorrow. That's the reason why God says return back, return back. If you've been losing some fire, go get you some lighter fluid and put it on you. Not that kind of lighter fluid, you know what I mean. Hang around somebody who already got some fire in them. You can't hang around nobody that lukewarm, ain't got no heat, don't love nothing about God, ain't trying to do right, ain't what's called, and you wonder why you don't want to serve God because you're hanging out with somebody that don't love Jesus like that. He said, I want to put you back together again. Everything that you lost, he said, I'm going to restore back to you.